So hi, this is Manny Yekutiel. I'm the owner of Manny's here on the corner of 16th and Valencia, and tonight I'm going to be in conversation with Supervisor Matt Haney of District 6. And the whole point of this conversation is to really learn about who is this person, what makes him tick, what he's all about. As always, all of our programming is completely free. We rely totally on individual sponsors to support our space and keep it open. So please go to joinit.org/o/Manny's to become a sponsor, and looking forward to seeing you tonight for this conversation.
You're more of a performer than me. I'm not really
That's
a
not
performer.
true.
I'm not.
That's a lie.
You're
a better performer than I am.
No, that's.
You're more skilled at it.
I have never, my entire life, I've never been a performer. When I was in 5th grade, I somehow got roped into reading a poem, and when I got up there at our graduation, you know, and I got
Middle
up there.
school graduation?
This was elementary school.
Okay.
And I got up there and I was so terrified. I was supposed to remember it, and I just completely forgot it. And I was never somebody who would get up in front of the class or anything like that. So it's kind of weird for me that I accept that I'm generally an extrovert, but I'm kind of an introvert extrovert. I'm somewhere in a blend, because I'm like, for example, like I go out and eat all the time by myself. Most of the time I'm by myself, but then I'm happy to be around other people, you know, and I get energy from it, but most of the time I'd rather be alone. So it's an interesting.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I would do events here, and I would have conversations with people and do the whole stage thing, and then I would go straight to my office and just hide.
Yeah.
And just be alone for a bit, because I feel like I have social anxiety, actually, you know, like in groups. But you seem to have it more. The fact that you've gone on all these trips alone and you've traveled on your own.
Yeah, I do that.
I feel like that's actually exceptional. I feel like most people don't spend that much time on their own.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because you also have a really tight group of friends.
Yeah. I don't know.
What's that about?
I spend a lot of time with other people, so.
Even now?
Even now, because like all day long I'm on calls. I mean, I guess not even if I'm with you, but I'm like I'm talking all the time. I'm engaging all the time, and I mean I like it.
That's exhausting.
But like the idea of like going off on my own to like a river or something is like almost like magical as well. You know, I don't feel the need to be with other people there.
Are you not lonely?
I don't feel lonely. I'm blessed to have more than enough people who are there for me, and also around if I need more there. You know, like it's like I have a lot of people I can call. I have a lot of people who.
Are you the kind of person that reaches out to their friends a lot and asks for support and like emotion? Are you when you've gone through shit in your life, are you the person that is calling all the friends and having long conversations with them to get through it, or are you the person that likes to deal with it on their own and keep it inside?
No, I will talk it through with other people, but usually just a very small group. So my sister, my mom, and then I have a couple like very close, mostly female friends, like Latifah, who I would call and get advice from and support from.
She's so amazing.
Yeah. So in the times that I've needed somebody, it would usually be my sister and my mom.
Have you felt times like that in the last couple of months? Or have there been moments where you felt that like deep need for someone?
Yeah. Are we doing this now? Is this happening?
This is happening.
There was no formal start. This is just like.
Sister, we're here.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know who's gonna want to hear just like my personal like. I
actually think that is more interesting than how you're gonna fix the toxic waste in Treasure Island,
right.
Or why you want to split the DPW into 2 departments. I mean, we can talk about that.
No, I'm not asking you to talk. I just like.
I'm interested
want
in
at
you.
least make this interesting for people.
But let's just focus on what's interesting to me for a little bit.
Okay, that's fine.
What's interesting to me is how your mind and your heart works.
Right.
What's been the emotional journey of the last couple of months for you?
I mean, I think the beginning of all of this, just incredible uncertainty and just rapid sort of change, and just like even just coming to the realization of how serious this was and how big it was, and then thinking about what my responsibility was in this moment. I mean, I think for everybody, it's kind of like, this is why we're in a position, and this is the real thing. This is not a drill. Like, show up and be there for people and try to, protect folks and lead, or like, you shouldn't have fucking been there in the first place. Like that wherever you were, whether you're a business owner or you're an elected official or a community leader, like, this is not a drill. And I think a lot of times, like, we sort of go through the motions in leadership, and then when the time comes and it's actually happening right there, like, it almost like you're sort of going like, this is it, like, go, And for me, like, everything that people have invested in me and that I've learned and that I've seen and that I've been trained and I've been benefited from incredible mentors, like, it was like, show up.
And do you feel like you've been able to do that in the last couple months? Because I feel like similarly, like in a much smaller way, Matt, because I'm not doing what you're doing, but I was appointed to the Small Business Commission in January. And at the time when I was appointed, it was like, it's tough for small business and you gotta help them out. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna make it easier for businesses to pay their bills and stuff. Like, that's kind of the things I was thinking about. And then 2 months in, it was like, all businesses need to be shut for an indefinite amount of time. And a part of me felt like afraid that I wasn't able to rise to the occasion and like really help this community that I'm supposed to be representing right now. And there's been a fear, like a pit in my stomach, that I'm not meant to be in a position of leadership. You don't have that fear? You don't ever like doubt yourself? Like, you don't have imposter syndrome of like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, maybe I'm not actually the right person to be leading?
Well, first of all, you have done a great job. You have been leading. I mean, what's happening on Valencia Street, the Small Business Commission has been as vocal and relevant and leading in as I've ever seen it. So I don't, and I think you have. So, but I mean, I think that I don't know if what my community needs that I represent, that they need me to be asking those questions. I think what they need me to do is to step the fuck up and tell me if I'm not. And could I have done more and better? I'm sure. Like, of course I have doubts about whether I've done enough. And any leader should. At the same time, I try to take my cues from, the people in my community, the residents, the leaders I respect and all that. And is there more I can do? Tell me. And so we also take those kind of cues, and I've also, like, through the last few months, trying to do things differently and show that, like, we have to lead differently as younger people, as people who, for the first couple weeks of all of this, it feels like years ago, I was like going on and doing an Instagram live every night.
You were
answering questions.
You were everywhere.
And I was just trying to just help people process what was going on, even as I didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah.
And I think, in a lot of what now we sort of take for granted in terms of what is possible and what we're capable of, even just a few months into this, I think has changed.
How have you grown as a leader through this?
I think that I definitely have, a sense of, and a real, like, sense of hope for people's ability to adapt and to have some level, not even of hope, but faith in that. Like, I shouldn't expect to have to do everything, but to know how to take cues and to see the innovation and the adaptation as it's happening and be able to foster that and nurture that. and I think that things that seemed impossible now are possible, good and bad. Like things that seemed like we could never do that, and people are doing it. And so the set of barriers and restrictions and assumptions that we have, I think, have changed. Some of those are good, as even things that are like, wow, you mean every business can shut down, and like people, for the most part, and again, not everybody, and there's a lot that's awful that's happening, are figuring it out and are adapting in different ways. And not
Restaurants have closed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still pretty
yeah,
catastrophic.
It absolutely is, and yet at the same time, there is adaptation that I think even the ones that have closed would say they're impressed with how. I mean, this is brutal. This is awful. This is unprecedented. I mean, the idea that for months and months you would tell places they just have to close, right? And I mean, what we should be thinking about is how the fuck are any of them surviving? I mean, this is.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know how they are.
And so the way that people are adapting, look, it's not. There's nothing positive about this. There's nothing that you should. It's not like you can say like, well, it's really great that we're all going through this together. No, it's like that's not at all the reality. But I do think that seeing that type of leadership is like, maybe we're capable of a lot more on a normal day. During normal times, what do we actually recognize to be a crisis, and how do we show up for that? Because we were in a crisis in a lot of ways before this, and we didn't show up with the same level of urgency and, get that shit done, make it happen as we are right now. So I want to bring that as a leader. I want to bring that, like, just do it, make it happen.
There is something different about you right now. There is. I mean, I've interviewed you like 7 times at this point.
It might be the rosé.
No. It was like that for the last hour-long interview we did too. There's something awake inside you, for sure. Like you feel there's maybe it's your Baywatch, maybe it's the Baywatch body that you've crafted for yourself. But you seem very youthful right now. What's going on? What is it, Matt? Why are you so springy? What's happening?
I mean, I feel this is like, as I said, this is our moment to step up. And there's a lot that's awful that's happening in the world right now, but like the level of engagement and activism and the number of people who are a part of the Black Lives Matter and the defund the police movements, like that shit gets me fired up. Like this is like what we are here to do. Like I see what we can do, and I'm excited to be a part of it and to learn from it. And like I think that's hopeful. Like I'm grateful to be here, experiencing it and to figuring out what my place is within it.
What's the first thing you do when you wake up? Like, what does your first 30 minutes look like? You might be thinking, why the fuck is he asking me about this? And it's because I want to know. What do your first 30 minutes look like? What do you do? And be honest, don't lie. Don't say like what you think Matt Haney's first 30 minutes should be. Like, what are your first 30 minutes?
So I'm very much like a get up and go person.
Really?
Like I don't.
You don't spend 20 minutes on Instagram when you first wake up in your bed, like with your eyes half closed?
Maybe. It's possible. I probably do check my email or something right away.
Okay.
I'm thinking like immediately. I've been going and I have like a boot camp that I'm doing in the mornings now.
Like an exercise boot camp?
Yeah, exercise. Yeah.
What does that involve?
It's an outdoor boot camp that I'm doing.
So you're going to it?
Yeah, I'm going to it.
Where is it?
It's at Lafayette Square Park.
Up in Pack Heights?
Yeah, in Pack Heights, yeah.
Hey, okay. So you're going to Pack Heights for your workout, for a boot camp. Okay.
Yeah, but like, I'm like, I get all my stuff, I go. I'm also like this morning, for example, like I'm like, this is the type of shit that happens with me. So like, I woke up, it starts at 7:15. I wake up at 6:50.
That's cutting it close.
Yeah, cutting it super close.
That's too close.
I never have a car, and I have my mom's car now. So I go out, I get the car, I drive up there, and then like because of Monday's like a street sweeping nightmare apparently, and everything is Monday, I couldn't find any parking, and then it hits like 7:20, and then I didn't make the boot camp this morning.
So you just went back? You went back home?
I went back home.
No!
I failed this morning.
You didn't just show up late?
No, because it's only an hour. So then I went home, I parked, and I just went for a walk.
That's so sad. Were you sad?
I went for a long walk.
Were you disappointed?
No, I was kind of like, well, I guess it's not meant for me to be at the boot camp this morning. But I went for a long walk instead. So what I sometimes do is I just go for a long walk in the morning and make some calls and those kind of things. So anyways, that's sort of a weird experience that I had this morning. But
can I ask you a personal question?
These are pretty personal questions already.
How do you think about love?
How do I think about love? Like romantic love, or? I don't think about it a lot, I guess. I don't, it's not something that I honestly like personally like yearn for in that way. Like I feel very much loved in my life, like by my family, by my sister, by my mom, my dad, I have very close friends that love me and I love them. I don't wake up every day feeling the need for romantic love. I guess I'm open to it. And
you don't yearn for it?
No, it hasn't, it has never been something that I have needed, nor is it something that I have had, I feel like, a lot of exposure to in my life, right? So like some people, they have seen it in their family somewhere. Like I was raised mostly by my mom. My parents divorced when I was very young, so I don't remember, and even when they were divorced, they kind of had a sort of not a positive relationship. My dad remarried later and has a very loving relationship with my stepmom. But I didn't grow up in a household where I was exposed really to romantic love, and have actually seen a lot of negative, just from people around me.
Do you think that lack of yearning for love has anything to do with your political career?
Like, do I find love through?
I just interviewed Mondaire Jones and Richie Torres, and I asked them the same question.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm good friends with Richie, and I talked to him, and I want him to have love, because what I have seen is people who, especially in politics, who do not secure love in their life early on, it's very hard for them to find it, right? Like I interviewed Stacey Abrams, and she was like, know any single guys? Because I'm looking. London Breed, she's single, and there's a lot of gay politicians that are single, and I just, I wonder if the political career, and it's something I've asked a lot of people, and the path towards love, sometimes do they come to blows sometimes,
I will say that I do think that being in politics takes a sacrifice in that regard, that it's not only is it, the thing that I feel like that I've sacrificed and that I've lost a lot of are friendships in politics, that there were people that I was close with inside or outside of politics that I think have been friendships that have been hard to keep as a politician. And
why?
Part of it is, I think, because there are a lot of choices that you have to make in politics that it's not so simple to just be like, that's my friend, and I'm with them no matter what, and I'm there for you. Because I need help on certain things, they need help on certain things, we might be not on the same side on certain things. It creates some level of tension and sort of separation in a way that straight up friendships are
Right.
generally not,
They're more
don't
organic.
operate that way.
Yeah.
You know,
There's no quid
you
pro
don't need to
quo
like
aspect of it.
choose, you know.
Yeah.
And even the fact that like as a politician, like I have to ask things of my friends and things ways that are like, you know,
Was
if
there-
one of my friends didn't, you know, donate or like who cares, right? But like
I know this is a third question on a question, but was there a point in your life where that shifted, where you went from just having friends to every relationship you had to be filtered through the lens of I'm a politician now?
I mean, I think it was a more gradual process, but I do think just even when I, you know, after I ran and got elected the first time, I mean, I lost very quickly a couple of very close friends. And it's one of the things that I think is most sort of painful about the experience of being a politician. And I don't, it's not like, oh, if you feel sorry for me or anything like that. You know, I understand the sacrifices, and I think I probably could have done better, and I could have prevented that, I think. But it's hard. It sets up dynamics in ways that are different, and there's always an element of like, is this a real friendship, or is somebody want something from me, or I want something from them, or it's some, you know, and it creates some sort of weird, you know, yeah, so I think that part of it, and same for relationships, you know, I think that like there's an element of that, you know, in dating and all of that that's hard.
Are you dating?
Not at the moment, no. Yeah. Do you know any single women? No.
I do.
I'm just kidding.
On the way over here, you told me that you're not. We rode over here on my Vespa, which I almost killed you 3 times.
Yes,
I think.
on purpose.
Yep. You told me that you are not motivated by guilt. That guilt is not something that motivates you. What motivates you? Honestly, truly. Because you told me that in a moment of truth. You were being, you know, because we're friends, and you were being like, this isn't motivating me. So what does motivate you then? Like when you know, clearly you're not so motivated to go to boot camp, but what, you know, post boot camp when you're doing your work, what is motivating you?
I'm motivated by a sense of responsibility, and some of that is what I feel like I owe. You know, that if I've seen things, if people have told me things, if people who have given me their trust, and some of that comes with the, you know, being able to do things and being in a position to do things, and that responsibility, I think, is what keeps me going. And I guess if I by guilt, if I wasn't fulfilling that responsibility, maybe I'd feel bad about it. Mm-hmm. So I guess that is guilt. But I think that there's a difference. You know, it's more to me of a positive thing. It's a proactive thing. And I think it's something that, for those of us who are in this position, and people trust us, a lot of people were like, I looked them in their eyes and I was like, you know, I'll fight for you. I'll do, you know, I got it. I'll do it. You know, you can trust me. And like if I don't follow through on that, like that's
like,
real shitty.
Real talk though, you have to have said that to a lot of people, knowing that you probably couldn't help them, right? Like we interviewed a couple folks today who live in tents in the TL, and like it was really hard because they are good, you know, the people we talked to at least seemed like very good people, and I got the world was not going to spare them, you know. They probably were going to stay in a shitty situation for a while. And I told the person I was talking to, like, I believe in you. I believe that. I asked him, we sat in some park where there was a mural, and I asked him where he wanted to be in a year. And he said, he pointed to this couple that was playing with their kids, and they were throwing water balloons at each other. And he's like, I want to just be like them. I want to have a wife and kids. And in a year from now, I just really want to have a normal life. And I told him that I believed that he could, and I was lying to him. Like, truth be told, he probably won't be able to have that in a year. Maybe he would, but you know, I feel like the people that you represent are often the people that have the least chance of having a good life by normal standards. So how do you keep that faith up? And how do you allow yourself to try to, I guess what I'm trying to get at is there a Matt Haney, the person, that is encased by the Matt Haney, the well-wisher and the promiser and the politician and what is the tension between those two?
I mean, I think that, so for the man that you're talking about,
Maurice. That was
Maurice, I think that you did the right thing by telling him that you believe that he can do that.
Yeah.
You know, and you do believe that. That's not a lie. And then, you know, and I do believe that you, when you talk to him, your feeling is, I'm going to help tell your story, and I'm going to do what I can to make that possible. And it's not you didn't say I'm going to come back tomorrow and I'm going to,
Sure.
you know, but I'm going to help tell your story,
Yeah.
and I'm going to try to make this city a place where that can be real for you. And that's what people generally are asking for. They're asking for you to do everything that you can do. And, you know, there's a lot that you have to take into consideration around that. But as long as you can stand by that authentically and with integrity, that you have done that, and you will be able to do that, and you will do it in your way, and I will do it in my own way. And that is you know, to him or anybody else, that I will you know, get out and fight. And it is being a belief in people and their possibilities and their dignity, and also in fairness and, you know, basic right and wrong. And we all learn that in different ways and from different people, right? But my responsibility is not just to those individuals who I've given my word to. It's to my grandfather, you know,
He's a Holocaust
family.
His family is. Right.
And we lost a lot of our family members in the Holocaust. He grew up here and went and fought in World War II.
He's a veteran.
He's a veteran, and so to him, and he worked with Martin Luther King and what he taught me, and, you know, and to my mom and what she's passed on to me. You know, so that's also what our responsibility is, to recognize what we've been given and what we've been taught, and to actualize that in making the world better and sharing what we've, you know, and I you know, I believe that I believe in my core that that's what my responsibility is, and it's not fake. It's authentic to who I am, and whether it's crazy or not, whether it's based on my own whatever, I believe it. I authentically believe it, and people who know me would say, yes, he authentically believes that, and so there isn't a point at which, even if I can joke about it or something else, at which it's turned off for me. It's, oh, no, that's not really, no. That's what we're about. And that aspect of, for whoever somebody is, a leader, whoever they are, you know, it doesn't mean you get it right every time. It doesn't, but it means that you're not motivated by guilt, you're motivated by that constant responsibility of how you show up in the world.
So let's talk about authenticity. I wasn't going to ask you this, but I'm going to ask you it. You posted recently, you know Andrew Gillum, or you posted about him. And I have a lot of thoughts about his 10-minute video where he you know, kind of finally approached what happened, you know, kind of his incident in the hotel. And I feel like as a gay person in politics, I felt disappointed by the fact that a politician was found in a situation that was compromising, that revealed things about his sexuality that were blatant, and he chose to do an entire video about the need to be honest about himself and talk about all the things, vulnerable and courageous though it was, except for the aspect about his sexuality. And this leads me to the question about what part of private life is required to be public knowledge in order to be in public life. You are not a private person. You can't be anymore. There is a Matt Haney, the public person. There are people who have feelings about you, as you know, that you will never meet, right? There's a public part of you. How important is it that the things about your private life be truthful and honest and knowable to the public as a politician? Not you, but as a politician. And Andrew Gillum, I think, is a test case in this.
I think people approach this differently, and I have respect for people who feel there are aspects of them that are completely private, that relate to their families, that relate to things they just feel like nobody should know. For some of that is not their own fault at all. It's actual things in the society and judgment and these kind of things, right? And candidly, I hadn't thought about what you just shared, and it's making me reflect on how he responded differently. But I don't walk in his shoes, and I don't know exactly what his thought process behind that was. For me, I have tried to operate in a level where I have nothing to hide.
Do you feel like you have nothing to hide? Do you feel like you're hiding anything from the public? Just between us chickens?
I don't think that there is. I feel that I'm, in fact, I just on a political sense, I get a lot of shit for this because and it's one reason why some people in politics won't include me in shit or tell me anything, because I feel if I would tell everybody. I would tell, not in a disrespectful way, but if you want to talk about some shit behind closed doors that impacts real people's lives and vulnerable people and people without power, and you want to pretend it's one way when it's another, I'm about to write your shit on Twitter.
Wait a second. So if you're the person that someone no. If someone says something to you and they don't tell this to anyone.
Yeah,
you'll tell everyone.
Yeah.
But if someone says don't tell this to someone, are you the person that tells a couple of strategic people and then lies?
No.
Lies and mistruths.
No.
You tell people and then hope it doesn't get back to whoever told you in the first place. It's hard to keep secrets. Even I'm bad at it, Actually, I'm really bad at it.
Yeah, I mean, and this is one of the philosophies, and I think I've shared this with you before, that I try to have guide me in my work is tell no lies, claim no easy victories.
Tell no lies, claim no easy victories. I get tell no lies. What does claim no easy victories mean?
Don't act like you've won something when you haven't really won shit. Go for what is actually a real victory, and don't try to put it out there that you've done something when you haven't done anything. It's basically virtue signaling.
Okay, tell me an example in the time that you've been a member of the Board of Supervisors where you had the opportunity to claim an easy victory and you didn't.
Every single day. I know you said you didn't want to talk about DPW and splitting everything, but
we can.
I think that sometimes, just saying you know what, I've got you more trash cans, or I cleaned up this one block, or whatever it was. But knowing that isn't going to actually fix the long-term issue, there's a structural problem here that we have to go to the mat for, and it's worth the fight, and it's not always sexy, but you have to do it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes that in politics, and the other one is expose lies wherever they're told.
Okay, so is that the third? Is this one of your rules for radicals type thing?
Yeah, no, it's
expose lies wherever they're told.
I mean, I live by that, which I think that to me is related to the, tell no lies, because ultimately, if people in power are misleading the people, if they're, I think a lot of what our responsibility is as agents of change, whether you're an elected official or not, is to expose the bullshit and tell the truth, and have faith that that in of itself will bring in the kind of change that one person on their own is not. Like, I don't operate, my theory of change around things is not that I have all the answers. It's actually that I don't have all the answers. But if I can help to expose people who lie and claim that they do, and share as much information and empower as many people as possible to be there, to have decisions reflect their truths, then we will get closer to the outcomes that are, so I think that to me is a lot of how I operate in the world, is that, like, I don't have the answers. But I know if you come in here claiming like you do.
Do you think there's a lot of lying happening in our city government?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you think that's unique to us or typical of the city government? I mean, look at our president. Not that it's an excuse,
No,
but do you think that politics breeds liars?
I think that people who are in power are sitting, especially within institutions or that hold power, are often put in positions where their interest is to protect themselves.
And are you not immune to that?
And of course, I'm not immune to that. I'm not immune to that. So take it for what it's worth then. but I do think that the difference is, and that's true in whatever position you are in. The difference when it comes to government is that you're supposed to be representative of people.
Yeah.
They are supposed to own these institutions, and so it's especially fucked up and scandalous when information is kept from them, and that they, so I think that's what's different about it. It's not anything special about city government or federal government or government in general. It's that government is supposed to operate by different principles.
It's so interesting, Matt, because I feel like, okay, so we did this series before, right when Shelter in Place started, where we had 112 interviews. One of the things I wanted to do was, everyone was talking about this hotel thing, right? Like the homeless people, and I was like, I want to get to truth on this question. I want to interview everyone involved on all sides of this issue, because it was fracturing the city, right? So I interviewed you.
Was that before or after I had worked in one? I think it was before.
I don't remember. I think it was before. I interviewed Hillary Ronan, I interviewed Kevin Carroll, I interviewed Jeff Kosinski, I interviewed Mayor Breed, and I was like, I'm going to ask everyone around this issue. I interviewed Trent Rohr, and I was like, I'm going to talk to everyone, and I'm going to know what the real truth is.
And there's no one real truth.
No! It was so frustrating, because everyone I talked to, I was like, you're right. You're totally right. And so it was kind of hard, because I felt like it should be easier to know the right and wrong answer to solve a problem. I hoped that it would be. And it seems like with so many issues in our society, it's really about who can convince you in the moment versus who knows what the cards say,
Right.
Because when I talked to you about it, I was like, oh, this is bullshit. Like, everyone needs to be in a hotel right now. When I talked to Trent Rohr about it, I was like, oh, Matt just is ignoring the facts of the case. You know what I mean? He's just not listening to Trent.
Right.
And it's funny, because you and I talked about your exchange with him too, and it was just like, this is so confusing.
Yeah. It is confusing, and it is hard, and everybody has a bit of the truth in of itself, and I don't think that anybody in particular is lying, but I think that there are a number of, one is, it's a question of what we believe to be possible and what the expectation is. Now, what we know, and I told you this, if the expectation is that nobody should be living on your alley or your sidewalk right in front of here, as it is the expectation for most human beings in our city, then we'd figure it out.
Right.
Now I can understand that some folks will say, well, but there's resources and it's hard. Yeah. But what do you view as the expectation, as the baseline? there are certain things that we expect and certain things that are optional. And in our city right now, it's optional to whether to get to all the people off the street.
Do you think you'd make a good mayor? I'm not asking you if you're running, so you don't have to give me your canned. You don't have to give me your canned. I'm focused on District 6, and I'm not planning on running for mayor. You don't have to do that. That's not my question, Matt. My question to you is, do you think you'd make a good mayor?
I don't know. I feel like I have been in a position of sort of challenging people in power for a while. I operate more like an organizer, I think. And I've been trained as an organizer, and I operate it as a supervisor, in some cases like an organizer, trying to sort of push change and demand change and organize, and again, I don't think that's like I legislate, but I will use whatever tool at my disposal to get people in positions of power to give the people that I represent what they want. Being the person, the decision maker, the authority, the executive themselves is a different job, Now I do think that in a city like San Francisco, where we have so many people here and companies and resources, and maybe we do need more of an organizer as a mayor, who is trying to bring all of that to the work of getting the job done. I don't know, but it's a different approach than I think most people who are executives take. That I have, so I don't know whether I would be good at it. I think it's different than most of the mayors that I've seen. I was thinking about this actually recently, as just an aside, not relating to our mayor or our city even. I was like, who has been a good mayor? Like, what mayor do we like?
And who came up?
Well, what big city mayor, right? Like,
That's such an interesting
and even in
question.
history, right? We don't have that many good examples. And a good progressive mayor was actually the frame that I've had. And
progressive is such a new term.
Yeah, it's
too.
a new term, but we don't have that. Like, mayor is a hard fucking job. It's a really hard job. And I do have
fiefdoms.
little
fiefdoms that you're like in charge of. But Mayor Breed can't necessarily wave a magic wand and get the fire department to do what she wants. It's not that simple.
Right. Yeah. But in San Francisco, the mayor has a lot of power. Actually, a lot more power than pretty much any other city, honestly, because we're a charter city, and so the mayor can put anything she wants on the ballot. We have a very strong mayor. I just found out that the mayor of San Jose, which is a bigger city than San Francisco, is just like a city council member.
Yeah.
Like,
wait, so
my
who came
God.
up as a progressive mayor role model?
We came up with like ideas of what's messed up is it's like a lot of people have become mayor and then like almost like shrunk, like, or they were great in the beginning and then sort of didn't deliver, like sort of Villaraigosa was like a very hopeful, like he was going to be a great mayor, and I don't think he's viewed as a great mayor.
No.
I don't think, although I love the guy, I'm not sure Garcetti will be viewed as a great mayor in LA. It's a very hard job. De Blasio definitely won't be viewed as a great mayor, right? What's weird is I guess, and I haven't, I don't know, right? Like we thought about like, there are people who sort of like seemed poised to be great.
Like Rahm Emanuel or something?
Yeah, or like but who never had the opportunity, right? Like there was like Harold Washington in Chicago who came up with this sort of rainbow coalition and died, in office. George Moscone.
Do you feel like
I think Gavin Newsom, was sort of viewed as a good mayor.
Do you feel like what that is a crashing of bright-eyed and bushy-tailed progressive ideas, which you often represent,
right,
and the realities of actually executing an office, which a mayor has to do, right? With respect. And I have a lot of respect for you. You know that.
Yeah.
It's one thing to go to the Board of Supervisors room and say, we need to do this. these people need this. This is unconscionable. This needs to happen. I'm going to do a resolution to make it happen. It's another thing to have, 12,000 employees who each have livelihoods, and you need to figure out how to move the morass of all of that, of, how many people are in DBW? 8,000 or something? 8,176, I think was the number. You need to move, push, and get it to result in a street being cleaned, right? It's one thing to say, my streets are dirty, fuck this, A mayor has to somehow make it happen. It's a totally different skill set, isn't it?
Yeah, and I can see all that. I still think we can do better than we're doing now. And it's not a personal thing with our current mayor at all. I think the city can do better than we are doing now. But yeah, it is a hard job, and so much so that we don't even have that many examples of really good ones. And I think that, I do think, to be a great congressperson is very different than being a great mayor.
Yeah.
And you can be a great congressperson by always being on the right side and giving great speeches and introducing great legislation. That's a lot easier than fixing a city's problems. And even in a city like San Francisco, it's hard because, and some people have said this, San Francisco is an example of, democratic governance fucking everything up. It's well, is that what do you attribute to that versus what you attribute to us being one of the most unequal places in the world? That's a lot of what you're seeing, the visible,
right?
And you don't blame that. You expect that the mayor and the supervisors or whatever can just fix all of that,
right?
With what we've got, and I think that's tough. And even a governor. I mean, governor is more signing laws. Nobody's like, my street's dirty. Where's the governor?
But they are my state is falling to shambles. What's Governor Newsom going to do about it, right? We're in a, people around me are dying from a virus. How is he going to help me?
Yeah, this is a time when governors have a level of accountability that is unique.
Right.
But generally, governors are sort of a bit disconnected in a state like ours, at least.
Yeah.
They're more disconnected and from the day to day. I mean, it's incredible that somebody gets, like you said to me earlier, well, somebody got beat up on 10th Street in Soma. Mayor Breed, what are you going to do about that? It's that's a pretty micro.
I think I asked you what you were going to do about that, but yes.
Yeah, well, Matt, supervisor, but I was given, same thing though, right? How do you...
We expect you to be able to fix all of our problems. And that's just really not fair. I'm almost done with you. What would you, 5 years ago, how old would you have been?
Wow. First asking about my love life, now how old I am. 5 years ago, I would have been 33. I'm 38.
You look great, first of all. Thank you. What are 3 things you wish you could say to yourself, you now, 38-year-old Matt, to the Matt of 33? What's 3 pieces of advice you'd give yourself?
3 pieces of advice?
They can be short, but yeah.
Wow, that's okay.
I love this song.
Yeah. One of them, and I mentioned...
be honest, Matt. This is the second to last question, so I need you to go deep.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't be you're doing great. Exercise more.
Well, I mentioned this, but foster your friendships. Like I said, I over the last 5 years, I think I've lost a number of friends, and I think I just sort of figured it would work out. And I think I wish over the last 5 or so years that I had spent more time on friendships. That's a big one, and I think it's something that we lose. Trying to think about other ones that are not cliche. Go visit every swimming hole in Northern California.
Been there, done that.
I would, on this one, I think that, and we talked about this a bit, but
In the first interview or the second interview?
yeah. Actually, I got another one. Be a mentor to others. I think that I 5 years ago, I was very aware of my responsibility and my role in that, and I think that as I've had to focus more on my own career and all of that, I think I've lost a little bit of that. It's more of who I was 5 years ago, and I wish I would have. I should, focus on that. And I think the third thing is foster and sustain mentors. I haven't, I've only had a handful of mentors in my life, I feel like, and some of them have been sort of brief, and I haven't spent time really, continuing that. I think those are very important things for anybody who wants to be a leader, is your friendships, your mentees, and your mentors. Because that's who keeps you grounded, and that's who guides you and keeps you happy, and makes sure that you have a legacy of work. And it's also like just a good thing to do.
And what kind of city do you want San Francisco to be in 5 years? And what role do you want to be playing in that? So now you're 43. You're 43 and snatched. But it's 5 years from now. What kind of city do you want San Francisco to be, and what's going to be your role in it?
It's such an interesting time for the city. Like, it's like, what is this going to look like in 3 months?
2025.
2025. I want San Francisco to be a city that actually is a place that lives up to its potential. And when I say that, I sometimes feel like San Francisco can take the easy way out of sort of, I guess we claim a lot of easy victories. And we say
claim no easy victories.
We say we are the most liberal, progressive. We are the resistance, these kind of things.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I look around the city and I don't see a city that I would want to replicate more broadly. There are certain aspects of it that I love.
Sad.
I want San Francisco to be a place that we can all love unequivocally, and be proud of. And I feel like San Francisco, at least in this moment, is something that we are, in many ways, it feels like the conversation is always something we are fighting to save, and something we are fighting to protect, and that San Francisco is a place that is under attack in some ways. And I hope that in 5 years that we don't have that narrative, that it's more that we've settled on who we want to be and that we are building that, rather than this constant narrative of San Francisco is quickly in front of our eyes becoming something that we aren't proud of.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. I want that too.
Yeah, and I want to be, not just myself, but I want others to be able to be settled in that.
Yeah.
Even as it isn't imperfect. We know that it is imperfect.
Yeah.
But I think that San Francisco, more so than a lot of other places in the country and in the world, is right now in a place where it feels like it's moving towards a place where we all don't like where it's going, and we are in constant struggle against that. And
that's tiring.
Yeah, it's tiring, and I think it leads a lot of people to give up, or to not feel at home here, or not feel connected here. that we're fighting for something in the past almost,
Yeah.
as opposed to fighting for something in the future.
Yeah.
That we like where we're going.
I'm over
and we're
that.
building.
No more
for
of that.
Yeah.
I'm done with that.
Yeah. It's like I'm fighting for the soul of San Francisco from the past. You know.
No.
Yeah. And
No.
that is not a fulfilling thing.
No.
So. Yeah. You agree with me, man.
I agree with you.
Okay. But you know, but it's not. It can't be replacing, right? Like I was on the school board for 6 years. Like I used to think about, we are in a city where our young people are struggling to be here, and if they do everything right, they get straight A's, and they graduate from high school, nearly all of them won't be able to stay in this city. That's how it is currently. And I think that a lot of us are thinking about San Francisco as a place where we are trying to fight against that, and we are trying to go back to a time when they could stay. No, let's think about a future in which all of these young people can stay, and we see that future because it hasn't been here for a long time, and that's what we're fighting for. And that San Francisco is one that we want to live in, and that we are all agreeing we are willing to make sacrifices and provide real skin in the game, commitment in order to make that happen. And I don't see that. You know, I don't feel that right now. I feel like it's a slow burn, and we are trying to sort of, as best as possible, fight the slow burn. And
That's not very fun.
No. It's not only is it not fun, it's not working.
Yeah.
And the people who most need a change are going to lose in that equation.
Yeah.
Because the slow burn is going to win.
Is there anything else you want to say?
I think so. I've said a lot.
This has been a bit of a marathon conversation you and I have had.
I hope that in 5 years I'm a part of that, and so in whatever way that my community, you know, and wants me to be, and that I'm still in the fight, and that I'm, you know, motivated, and I'm hopeful about the city. You know, I think that like the city is like should be a place we're hopeful about and that we love, and you know, we're all still here for a reason.
I have a feeling you will be, Matt. And I look forward to bringing you back to the lavender couch, and we can talk about.
You're gonna open up the time capsule of 5 years ago.
I'm just gonna show you.
And this is what you said.
I'm gonna show you this conversation in 5 years, and I'm gonna say, "Look what you said."
Yeah.
And
20 pounds heavier.
No. I think you'll be all sweat. You might have less hair, but you'll be just fine. Maybe you'll have found love.
Yeah, it could be.
I hope for that for you. I do.
Yeah.
Because we all can accomplish a lot in our life, but I want when you go home for there to be someone that appreciates you in that deeper way. That is more than a friend, more than a mentor or mentee, but like loves you. Hi, oh my God, okay, so we just finished our conversation with Matt Haney, the supervisor of District 6, and I feel like I really got to know him a lot better, and I hope that you did too. Great to go and have a deep dive with a member of our political world, someone who's serving the public, and learn more about who he really is. Please do become a sponsor of Manny's. It's joinit.org/o/Manny's to help support my small business and my civic space and allow us to keep doing conversations like this in the future. Thanks so much. It's joinit.org/o/Manny's.